Crazy Jester, and today I'm going to be talking about what's wrong with media geared towards kids. But before we begin, I just want to make a few quick announcements. Firstly, I am going into finals week. This is being recorded on a Friday, so this upcoming Monday, if you're watching this on December 9th or through December 16th, is finals week. What that means is that all the huge fucking tests that the teachers really don't teach you for here at this fucking college really do a piss poor job at happen, and that could make or break grades. So obviously I need to bunker down and get that done. So instead of doing these super large sort of gameplay-esque videos, I'm going in more with just talking, like late night talking. It's about 11:33. Basically, I've done all my studying, so now I can sit down finally, because I work 9 to 5. So right after 5, I get home, do my shit. I just got done 10. I studied for about 5 fucking hours. It was miserable. But anyways, I'm here now, and I'm probably just gonna do more talking and more commentary stuff, because I've always been interested in doing commentary. I think commentary is interesting. I think it's very important that everyone commentates at least on some topics that they're somewhat knowledgeable about. And so, yeah, this is just kind of me doing it. Another thing is that after finals week, which will be Friday, a week from the Friday that this is being recorded, I'm done for the semester, and I go home until very late January. What that means is that for about a month, I'm leaving my PS4 here, I'm leaving all my recording stuff here, and so I'll be gone for about a month. Now obviously it doesn't mean anything. This is just more of like the terms of like if some fucking random Joe walks in, says I haven't recorded for a month, that's where I am. Anyways, I guess I should really just start. So, what's wrong with social media geared towards kids? So, I've been watching a lot of these videos lately, more specifically like Roblox and like TikTok and shit like that. And it's just, I've noticed a certain trend within these types of media, and I just kind of want to talk about them like a lot of people else have. This isn't an original idea. This isn't just like some big brain play or big brain idea that I came up with that I'm the first to talk about. A lot of other people have definitely talked about it, so there's definitely better outlets to go out there to check if you really want to dive your head into it. However, I guess my 2 cents are interesting, if you could call it that. Anyways, I guess really we'll start off with Roblox. Now, Roblox is a website that is geared towards kids that allows kids to get online and play certain stupid little Lego style games. I guess really they're not Lego style anymore. Now they've branched out and like made like life like shit and stuff. It's actually kind of scary. Regardless, I played back in like 2012, 2013, 2014, during that time. So I never really had to experience and go through what these kids now have to go through. Back in 2012, 2013, 2014, and even before then, you could tell that it was geared towards kids. I mean, you could plain as day tell, you could sit me down and tell me that this game and stuff is geared towards kids. However, when I look at it now, I can't really say that it's geared towards kids, and this is partly due to Roblox and the player base. So I guess we'll go into like the easy ones first. We'll go into Roblox side, because Roblox is pretty fucking despicable. They've been found to be pretty despicable and downright negligent when it came to kids and how they manage to keep kids, safe online, which is something they're obligated to do if they are running a child's app. But anyways, so they've noticed a trend where they're pretty negligent in terms of how they run their services. Basically what you're seeing a lot nowadays is a bunch of fetish games. These are obviously not made by 12-year-old Jimmy or by 8-year-old or 9-year-old Timmy. These are made by adults, like fat 40-year-old men who sit there and make these tickle fetish games or like just straight up sex games. Now obviously there's the whole fetishing because they might like the player models is an argument that I've heard that these people are adults, they're allowed to make games, that's one of their rights, they are allowed to make games. If they find Roblox characters hot, then they find Roblox characters hot and they should be allowed to make sex games. But then there's the people on the side of reason who realize that fetish games and sex on a children's website all about children games really doesn't belong. And luckily the former, the terms of like this is not okay, heavily outweigh the former. So most people understand what a kids app means and that it's not a free to use site for anyone, but a free to use site for people who are making games for children. So one of the big things that we see is the fetish games, and these fetish games are sexual in nature, obviously, and are pretty fucking disgusting in the context of a kid's game. Like if you want to play these games or make these games on a website that is made for adults, or at least for people who are over the age of 18, so like consenting people who are able to consent to that type of stuff, go for it. Make your bootleg Roblox games on there. However, when you're playing and making games like that on a kid's website specifically geared towards kids, marketed towards kids, and not marketed towards adults, then that's a big issue. It goes without saying as well that most of these people who make these games also groom children. That's another big issue. In fact, Roblox themselves are very, very lazy when it comes to punishing and making sure that children are safe within their app. There are so many accounts and receipts towards people who were grooming children or having inappropriate conversations with children. One of them being a Roblox award winner, someone who should be huge in the community and should be the most heavily kept to certain standards, especially, not having sex with minors or at least attempting to have sex with minors. That's definitely definitely a little oversight that Roblox had when it came to, making sure that a huge public Roblox figure didn't do such a thing, such as moaning into his microphone. Now, a lot of people said, this can't be provable, except that it was, because, it was just an audio file. To be fair, it was an audio file. So there was no concrete evidence. However, it did come from his account. So I'm not really sure how even if that wasn't him on the mic saying all that stuff, he still sent it to a child. But giving him the benefit of the doubt, which he obviously didn't deserve, and that it wasn't him who was making all that noise, all that ruckus, it was pretty fucked that he still sent it regardless. However, it was found out that, comparing his voice to a SoundCloud file that he did not delete, because he deleted everything, but he kept SoundCloud files. Comparing his voice in the SoundCloud file to the file in question, the audio file in question, proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was the same person, because he didn't try to mask his voice or hide it in any way. So again, I'm not sure how the possibility that it wasn't him even came up. But anyways, I'm not here to split hairs, but seems a little dumb to me. However, I think the big issue with that is that Roblox's inability to protect the youth in terms of sexual activity going on in the app, but also financially. And I don't mean financially as like Roblox should be sitting there having seminars in terms of how kids should spend their money, but in terms of not being so fucking greedy. You know, a kid's biggest dream, like a gamer kid's biggest dream, other than maybe going to the moon or playing in the National Baseball League or whatever you call it, the NBA, the National Basketball Association, whatever. You know, other than playing big in sports, going to the fucking moon, and being a YouTuber is being a game developer. I think it goes without saying that children are going to make games on a website specifically made for creating games. That's what kids are going to do for the app. That's to play games and to make games and have other kids play those said games. Again, I'm using an example for me. 2012, 2013, and 2014. I can't say 15, 16, 17, 18 because I wasn't around during those times. I grew up. During those times, it was very easy to make games. You just went in, made a game, you posted it, and kids would play it. I mean, that was it. Maybe you needed a builder's club to, you know, add some certain finesse to make a game stand out, but really that was it. Just make a fucking game, post it online, and boom, it was. If it wasn't front cover of the fucking thing, that your game just sucked so much dick. Because every game made it to the top. Every game made it to the top back then. Nowadays, though, the way you have to get it, I've heard from a developer. This was from a developer during a Discord call that I wasn't in. This is taken not verbatim, but as close to verbatim as I can make it with my shit memory from a YouTube video. Was that in order to make a game, you made the game, but to do that, you have to buy assets for the game now. You can't just get them free that Roblox provided. No, Roblox took away all those free provided assets, and now you have to pay for the same assets that kind of suck. You also, if you want to download audio files, you have to pay for it. Basically what happens is that you either get two options. One, you pay premium and get to upload 100 audio files to your game per month, or you stick it out. You don't pay any money because you don't have the money because you're a child, you know. And I don't expect a 9-year-old to have fucking $15 lying around monthly, or you pay, or you don't pay the money because you're a reasonable child and don't have the money for it, and no one's faulting you for it. And you can only upload 10 sound files per month. Someone did the math. I can't remember who. I believe it was the same person I was watching. I wish I could give them credit, but I don't remember who they were. The 10 audio files per month is less files than the original Mario had. And he did the math, which means you are uploading less audio files in a month than you could with all of Super Mario. And I don't think you need to be a fucking astrophysicist to realize that, yeah, that might be a little harsh to Timmy over here, who only makes a $2 allowance every time he loses a tooth. I mean, you're not gonna find kids making all that money. So you don't. You find adults. And that's where the issues come in. This is no longer a kid's game. This is an adult's way of making money because of children. You see, the problem is that it's not just buying assets for the game. You also need to spend hundreds of dollars to then get that game advertised. The way you get your game advertised is not just by, spending some money, maybe like $50, to put one of those side panels you see usually on those sketchy-ass free game websites that you had to use during your school time because they blocked cool math games. So basically, it was those sketchy-ass little things. The problem is that you don't just buy them, you have to auction on them. And this is where the kids part of Roblox fails miserably. You see, the problem is that it's an auction. But it's not just. I don't know how auctions work. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't go to auctions usually. I'm not an auctioneer. I don't, attend auctions very often. So I'm not sure exactly how auctions tend to work. So I'm just going to say it the way they do it, and if that's normal, then it's normal. But if it's not normal, then there's probably an issue. But keep in mind, this is, again, still in the lens of a kid's game. I'm not going to turn the lens of Roblox into an adult's game, because it's not what it's made for. So keep in mind, everything I'm saying was intended for kids. So let's get into it. So when you auction, you spend money, obviously. Except you don't get that money back if you lose. So you can spend $500. And then it's just gone because someone spent, I don't know, $600. The issue is that this is no longer a kid's game. This is just an adult's game. And Roblox doesn't give a fuck about the kids anymore. It's now, they care about the adults. They market shit to adults now because that's how Roblox gets money. Which leads into, the whole fetish type games and shit. And that's disgusting. I think that's a big issue that Roblox need to take care of, is that the fact that they need to make sure that they're marketing towards kids, which they still promise to be, except they make it the least accessible for kids out of any demographic. I honestly can't find a demographic in Roblox more, ostracized and more at a disadvantage than kids in a kids game. I understand there are certain games that you can't avoid that. MMOs are like, you can have an MMO geared towards kids. However, adults are going to have the upper hand due to strategy and shit. That's something that you can't control. But when you control the fact that your games were intended for kids, that kids are, the intended audience to make said games, but they're only accessible to adults, I think that's where the issue comes in. So with, Roblox being, the place meant for kids, except that the whole kids aspect was somehow lost in translation and became an adult's money-making scheme with kids and their, and their little pee-pee brains going off playing these stupid, I don't know, games made by a literal company, or at least a large group of players. Like that's a big issue. It's no longer become about the kids, and it's become about the adults, and that leads to a bunch of issues. And I think that thing is pretty bad. I would hope I don't need to say that. I think another app that really needs to be addressed is TikTok. I know this has been dug into the ground. I mean, it's practically been buried there for the past 3 years. However, I'm gonna dig this bad boy up once again, slap him a few times, and put him back in the ground. TikTok is a entertainment app specifically geared to, you bet it, you get it, you gotcha, kids. Now, it's not as heavily geared towards kids as Roblox is, as TikTok is actually able to be enjoyed by an entire family and has a wide variety of media and entertainment, some geared towards adults. And there's nothing wrong with an adult using the app. I wouldn't specifically call it a kids app. However, the demographic is mostly kids, and so I'm going to bunch it into this. Whether it be unfair or fair, it is dealing with kids at a much higher scale than it's dealing with adults. So I'm counting it. I think it goes without saying that TikTok is owned by a Chinese company. China isn't exactly known for their trustworthy decisions and policies. They're not exactly known for their most humanitarian way they treat their people and their sources of media, censorship, all that stuff. They're an authoritarian government without being an authoritarianism government. They have all the steps. They just need to start being called that instead of a communist country. They're not communism. They're totalitarian. But regardless, I think one of the big things that needs to be made very clear is the policy in which data is collected, retrieved, and used. One of the big things is how they market towards people. Now, obviously, every app, Roblox does it, like YouTube does it, in terms of they look at what you view, how long you view it, and base what they push onto you, recommend it based off of what you've been watching and your sort of watch time. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's terrible. However, it's what else they do with this sort of data that really gets under everyone's skin and should get under your skin. First off, TikTok has been outed and known for suppressing old people. That is older adults, that is grandpas, that is people who do not look pretty. And by pretty standards, I mean young, female, and looks like, 2 steps away from being a fashion model. Did I mention underage? I think the big issue is that the way that they market is extremely unfair towards a large majority of the people. This is, of course, to keep people interested in the app. I mean, let's be honest here, not everyone wants to see old Bessie hitting the gritty when there is a 19-year-old fashion model that's going to teach you how to be the next beauty guru. It's just reasonable to think that for makeup tutorials you'd go for the younger person, and so younger people are pushed on more, and in turn people who are older, especially old people, like grandmas and older mothers and or around motherly age like 40s and 50s, are practically shadow banned unless that is specifically what you're searching for. I want you to go on that app if you have it. If you don't have it, don't download it. It's not even worth it. If you can create a new account, I don't know. I've never used TikTok before. I think it's stupid. If you can, go on there for, start a fresh new page on the For You page and keep flipping down and count how many young people there are comparative to older people there are. And you're going to see that there's a big difference between older people and younger people. Now, I know that's a pretty big blanket statement there, and you're not going to know who's old and who's young. So use your eyesight. Use your best judgment. Try to gauge who's over the age of 40 and who's younger than the age of 40. And what you're going to see is 9 times out of 10, you're going to find more younger people than older people, especially around the age of 18 and around just barely legal. This is going to fit in later, trust me. Because of this, people aren't set out as fairly as other people. Children or younger adults more than older adults. Beauty trumps ugly, and females trump men. And no, that's not to say that females shouldn't be there. That's not to say that young people shouldn't be there. What I'm making is a point here that there's clearly a shadow banning process that is taking place that is preventing certain demographics from being pushed as much as other demographics, regardless of the video traffic and the audience retention rate that they're getting. It just doesn't exist. It just doesn't work for the new audience. While obviously the people who have viewed the TikToker before will see more posts, new people have no shot. And that's what makes certain people's growth unfair compared to others. There's nothing to do with kids. It's just something to keep in mind as we go forward with this. I think one of the big things that we also need to keep in mind is just how, depraved some people on TikTok can be. There are a bunch of adults that go on this website. Most, I would argue, with good intentions. They just want to go on TikTok, whether they want to see what their kids are doing on there or they just heard of TikTok and really are interested. There's nothing wrong with an adult using a website, even if it is Roblox, as long as they're using it for intentions that are not illegal and morally and ethically wrong. Like Roblox, there's nothing wrong with being an adult, going on Roblox and playing a game. There's nothing wrong with an adult interacting with kids on an online service, as long as it is within an area that is monitored, by moderation teams, and is conducted in a safe, healthy way for both of them. What that means is no predatory conversations, no personal conversations, just a hi, hello, maybe talk about the game, and that's pretty much about it, no personal stuff. However, with TikTok, that's a lot harder to do because there's no moderation. You see, the issue is that, China doesn't give a fuck about you. I think it's been made very clear within its own people and services that they provide to the public outside of China or within China, they don't care. They get your data, they brainwash you, or they do something similar where they push certain things on you to make you not want to do anything, which is a proven thing that they do. That's not conspiracy bullshit. That's not the tinfoil condom talking. That's literally their intention sometimes, is to dumb you down to make them better. However, there's something even more sinister that's going on. Your data is collected and stored with or without your consent to TikTok and the Chinese servers. This is not because TikTok themselves are stealing your data. That is not because the Chinese company is stealing your data, but that is because it is a Chinese law. The Chinese law clearly states and defines that the Führer, I mean, the president's government is allowed to confiscate any online media data from any company, and that said media company has to hand over whatever and to whoever the information the government is requiring them to give. For example, if a member of the government goes to the, let's say TikTok company, the company that owns TikTok, and asks for everyone's personal data that they have stored because they are legally obligated to do so in China, all that data from every user that has used TikTok that is stored within the company's files is now the Chinese government's data. Basically, at any moment in time, if the Chinese government so chooses, all your personal data, your address, your usernames, the passwords you used, emails, anything that you've touched and used with your TikTok account is now in the hands of the Chinese government. And I don't think I need to tell you how bad that would be for everyone. Kids are more susceptible to these types of things because they are children. They are children. They don't understand when they read these terms of services, or don't. I mean, I'm 19, almost 20. I don't read the fucking terms of services. I could probably, consent to being, my nuts shot off, and I probably wouldn't fucking read it. Regardless, my point being is that kids are not going to sit there and read an entire fucking terms of services document. And in that document, it clearly states that any data is collected and used. What it doesn't tell you is that that data is also used for the Chinese government. And now that all that child data, which is illegal, by the way, owning and then selling child data online is a huge fucking legal issue. Google has had that legal issue. YouTube has had that legal issue. Point being, it's not a good thing. I don't know. I don't know really where I was going with this. In fact, I don't really have anything else to say now that I think about it. I think it's just something that I've just wanted to talk about for a while, and that's the fact that there's some types of media out there that claim to be all the good, child-friendly media, or like child-driven media, like Roblox, that really is, if you really look at it, just has anything to do with children, or children are in the background of a company's intentions. With Roblox, it's clear It is absolutely clear that they are more geared towards adults now than they were for kids, because that's how they make money. Kids didn't make the money as much as they do now. I mean, maybe a kid swiped a credit card once or twice and used every last cent in their bank account to buy the new Dominus hood, you know, the green one with the eyeball. That was actually kind of cool. I really wanted it, but now it's like 30 million Roblox, which is like fucking thousands of dollars, which I don't have. And I think that's a big thing to really take into consideration here, and that's just Roblox didn't care. TikTok, about the same way. They don't care about you. There's so many pedophilia issues going on there, grooming issues that just don't get taken care of because the people who do it make TikTok money. And if TikTok makes money, then they win, and what the fuck is the issue? I think that's another big issue, especially with Roblox as well, is that Roblox seems to not care about the kids anymore. They think of the kids as just, you know, damage, like insurance almost. Like, one kid gets scarred, groomed, has their life fucked because they sent pictures to a man, and that man sends it to everyone, and then it gets leaked online, and then that kid's life is it's ruined, especially if that kid is an older child. A young child, obviously this is fucking terrible, it's despicable, and my views on, and obviously I'm not going to make my views very quiet on this. I feel like child predators, anyone who's touched a child, pedophiles, obviously child pedophiles are just pedophiles, but like my thoughts on pedophiles, child predators, anyone who's ever groomed a kid should be chemically castrated. They should be castrated chemically. I don't know if that's really a thing, and if not, just pour acid down their pants. I don't fucking care. Whatever chemically castrated means nowadays, I don't know. I saw my Family Guy, thought it sounded cool, but they should definitely be castrated in some way. For safety reasons. That is a safety reason, not just a punishment, a safety reason. However, I think really the big thing to take away from this is that if you are a parent, make sure that you know what your kid's doing online. Don't let media raise your children, because that just shows that you're a bad parent. But above all else, you're subjecting your children to unnecessary risks. No, this isn't a fear-monger way. This isn't a way to say, oh, your child shouldn't touch the fucking internet or they shouldn't play Roblox, because, let's be honest here, these occurrences are a rare dime a dozen. These child predators are very hard to come by nowadays because of moderation that has been taken to good steps. Unfortunately, it's when predators slip through the cracks that you see Roblox's and other kid media's real side, which is, we don't care, we did our best, he got through, GG, well played. Instead of he slipped through, what can we do to make this 100% and not 70% or 95%, but 100% effective at catching these people before they are able to do lasting harm to children? I want to make it very clear that instances of these, except for, of course, the games are 100% if you look for them. However, the child predator, you could go 5 years without seeing a single child predator. You can go your entire life without being preyed upon as a child, without being preyed upon once. I was one of the lucky ones. Not really lucky ones, I guess you call them unlucky, but I was one of the people who have never once been preyed upon as a child. Have I been preyed upon as an adult? You goddamn right I have. Am I willing to admit it? You goddamn right. I made stupid decisions in my 2 years of being an adult. No, I consider it 2 years. Almost 2 years of being an adult. I guess that sounds better. On my almost 2 years of being an adult, I definitely got duped once, alright? Let's be honest here, lads. However, I mean, it's something you gotta live and you gotta learn from. With children, though, that's a terrible sentiment, obvious sentiment. It's saying to your child, oh, they'll learn. Like, that's disgusting. But yeah, I think I've rambled on this fucking outro long enough. I think it's just something I'm very passionate about, because I feel like kids nowadays are more reliant on media, as media is becoming a bigger thing. I mean, it's just the truth. In fact, I'm doing a couple presentations about media because of just how prevalent it is. It's just an easy thing to talk about because of just how much we use it. And because of that, video games and children are becoming more synonymous with one another and media. And basically, what that means is adults with ill intent towards children have much easier ways of getting there. And as unfortunate as that is, it's a sad reality that we do have to live with. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If y'all liked it, please leave a like, a comment in the comment section below. Tell me your thoughts. I genuinely, this is for open discussion. I want to know how you guys think of child apps and child media, and whether or not you agree with my opinions. Do you think that apps are doing the best they can against child predators? Do you think Roblox in particular is still made for kids, but for a older, more rich version of kids? Or do you think it's geared fully towards adults now, with kids just being the process that makes them money? I'd really be interested to hear. But as always, stay awesome, stay fresh, and stay you guys. As always, let's catch you all in the next one. Peace out, and study.